Well, good evening guys. It is Friday the 29th today. It's about 7:45 now. I am back in the swim we fished 2 days ago, for obvious reasons. Wednesday, if you haven't seen that video, I'll put a link to it at the end. If you haven't seen that video, I only came down for an hour and ended up staying for 2. We're up near the weir, and it's a lovely straight glide through. And I caught a nice perch, a dace, a bream and a chub. So I thought perhaps I'd come and give it a decent go tonight. So I've got here a little bit earlier, and being a Friday night I can stay much later as well. So I'm going to give it a good go, see if we can't winkle out one of the elusive barbel in this stretch. There are some in here, but they don't give themselves up very easily. And it's a bit early season really, but we'll fish into dark and we'll try and get one. But to be honest with you, I'll be happy catching whatever. It's absolutely fine with me. And in that vein, what I'm going to do, similar to Wednesday night, I'm going to fish maggot feeder on one rod, certainly till it starts to get dark, or till I'm absolutely being driven mad, perhaps by the bleak, you know, this big and stuff. But we'll suck that and see. The other rod, I'll fish more barbel style, as I say, catch some chub, catch some bream, that's great. On there I'm either going to use pellet or boilie. Various boilies and pastes with me to try. I've got the old faithful from last year, krill, sticky braits to the krill, and I've got the paste I made in the video, which was the video where I filmed and made the paste in my kitchen at home. I'll stick a link to that in the comments below if you want to go and see that, how you can knock up paste just from boilies. So I've got the krill with me. I've also got some black snail boilies. They're by Essential Baits, I think I'm right in saying. I've only just started using those. Again, I've got some paste as well for those. Hope you can hear me all right as well, by the way. It's quite breezy tonight. And I've also got some Odyssey XXX. This is some of the CC Moors, which I thought I'd give a go. Always chopping and changing with baits. Bit of a sort of never happy really chappy. But I've got some of them. I've just knocked some paste up, again from the boilies. Refer back to the video. So I'm going to give those a try as well. I've also got some pellets. I've got some Sonia Bates cheesy garlic pellets, which we're doing the biz on Wednesday night. I seem to love them. I think they're cheesy garlic halibut pellets. So we've got a variety of baits, and I'll switch over both rods to that as it starts to get dark. But for now, as I say, I'm going to put one rod on the maggot feeder. What I'm going to do as well is, as I've mentioned in the last few videos, is the hook baits. What I like to do is put a boilie, cut it in half, a wafter preferably. I'll cut it in half and mount this curved size together. Then I fill the middle up with paste. Now I've just put some ground bait in. I haven't set the rods up yet, although they're just sat here next to me. So what I'm going to do is set them up now, and I'll show you exactly what I do with the bait and feeder, etc. in a minute. The setup is just a free running lead, or in this case swim feeder, big cage feeder. I like the Guru gripper feeders. And I've actually just got a flying back lead on because I like to keep the line down as much as possible and out of the way. So what I'm going to do is I'll get the feeders and everything set up and the hook links on, and then I'll show you how I put my baits on. So guys, before I show you the hook baits, what I'll do is just show you the running ledger setup, how I do things. I've changed things slightly from last year. If we start off at the hook end, although I haven't put the hook link on yet, tie all my hook links up separately. I'll show you those in a second. But the bottom end of the gear, if you like, at the moment is, as you can see there, it's just a quick chain swivel, which I'll clip the hook link onto. Above that, I have got a ready tied leader. This is, I can't remember what, it's from Fox. It's one of their leaders. But it's just one of their ready tied leaders. As you can see, it's, I don't know, maybe 70 centimeters long, something like that. And the idea of that is that will protect the line, although obviously the line's not there. from the run ring that's going to run up and down here, which is here. Well, I've got the feeder, as you can see there, covered in grass. One of the big Guru gripper gripper feeders, excuse me. And that big run ring you can see on there runs up and down there really freely. And this stuff's really abrasion resistant, so there's not going to be any problem with that running up and down there. And at the bottom here I've got a tulip bead, fox tulip bead, and the quick chain swivel, as you can see, pulls just inside there nicely. And then just for a bit of extra protection there is the tag end of that where the feeder will sit, like so. All about protecting this main line. So the main line is actually attached, I've attached this with a grinner knot up there to the loop in this leader material. What I've done is, above that I've got one of the Drennan float stops, effectively gripper stop I think they're called. And all that does is stops this, which is my back lead. I do like to use a back lead. I'm not casting out very far, so this doesn't swing too far back from the rig. There's nothing up the line after this, and I've actually got it on effectively backwards, because as I cast this out it's quite streamlined, because I don't want it to come too far up. If I wanted it to fly back a long way, I'd put the flat side forward, and there's a lot of wind resistance, it slides right back up the line, but I don't want it to do that, so I'm using it the streamlined way. And all that stop there is just to protect the knot from the back lead, that's all. I've just got a couple of inches away there. Now obviously it's important, it's got to be a safe rig. So because I've got that huge low resistance run ring on there, should I have a crack off, all this can pull through here, the stop and everything can pull through, and obviously the flying back lead will just come off the line, feeder will come off the line. So safe rig's very important. Right, I'll fish out one of my hook links and we'll get a bait put on it. If you have a look down here, I'll show you my hook links. I use, worth mentioning, because I do fish two very different stretches. Up the road from my house basically is the weir. If I turn right out of my house, it's faster, it's shallower, it's barbely, long hook links, etc, etc. If I turn left, it's deep, it's slow, very breamy, a few carp up there. There are some big barbel up there, but they're much fewer and further between, although they're quite few and far between down here. Use much shorter hook links up there, use helicopter setups, which I'll run into next time I fish up there. But for now, longer hook links, and what I keep them in is one of these Guru boxes. And in there, as you can see, you've basically got this sort of foam rollers effectively. You can just winders, I guess you call them, that you can wind your hook links onto. So if I grab one of these out, I'll show you exactly what I do. Right guys, just worth mentioning again, I have said this previously, but for the new subscribers and people who haven't really seen many of my videos before, I'm bandying about names of companies and various gear and stuff. I'm not recommending it. I'm not sponsored by these people. It's just what I use. Suits my fishing. I'm not saying you should go out and use it. I'm not saying it's the best product on the market. All I'm saying is that's what I use. So I just want you to know, I'm just a normal angler like you guys. It's just I'm a normal angler who goes fishing with a video camera. But that's all. So, name dropping again. Hook link. I usually use hook links about 2 foot long, up to maybe 3 foot. But fishing generally into dark, don't worry too much about sort of having 5-6 foot hook links. Just find you're asking for tangles really. This stuff is tied from Fox Illusion fluorocarbon. I use this down here for my longer hook links because it's a little bit more supple than the other hook link material I like to use. Above the weir, when I've got shorter hook links on, I do like IQ, the Corda IQ2, the Corda stuff. It's a bit stiffer, and I think it works better on shorter hook links, but this stuff I want it to be more supple, so I use Illusion down here. As you can see there, anti-tangle sleeve on the hook link. The end that will go onto the quick chain swivel I just showed you is just a figure of 8 loop tied there. You probably can't see it because fluorocarbon's pretty difficult to see. On the other end I have a Corda curved shank hook. Do like my Corda curved shank hooks. I use them in 6s, 8s, 10s, all depending on the baits. Every size they do, 6 and under. I think 12's the smallest they do. But I do like the pattern. I do like the curve, obviously, as the name suggests. There it is. Tied on knotless knot style, so we got a nice aggressive hooking angle. And what I like to do is fix on my boilies with a boilie screw, boilie spike, call it what you will. Now I do like to use a long one, and you'll see why in a minute. These are 18mm. They're pretty hard to get hold of if you want, like I do, to have that extra ring on there to give it a bit more flexibility. But that's just running up and down the hook there, and it's just stopped with a hook bead there. Again, another Corda product, Corda hook bead. But that just runs up and down the shank of the hook. But that's just running up and down there, and it's threaded, as I hope you can see there. As I say, these are 18mm. These are Tasca ones. I think they're Tasca. And these seem to be the only ones I could find with that extra ring on. So I'll show you how to put the boilie on here. So guys, just while we're here, I'll show you my bait bucket as well. This is what I take with me, take all my bait around with me, take stalking, etc with me. Top bit is basically a washing up bowl. As you can see there, mix up my ground bait in it. As you see, this is a Sonu Baits. It's half sort of spicy method mix because I like it quite sticky, and I mixed it quite wet, as you can see. And it's half hemp and halibut crush. That's what I'm using this evening. Lovely sort of spicy, meaty smell. And in the bottom I keep the dry ground bait if I want to mix a bit more. Pellets, boilies, stuff like that, and I've also got my boilies in the front here. And pockets and bits and pieces, all sorts of stuff in the side. But that's the bucket you'll see me carrying around. To be honest, I never go fishing without this, unless I'm lure fishing. And this actually has got inside it, the original bucket disappeared. This is actually an old Swarthig hand cleaner bucket, and the bowl I bought fits nicely into the top of there. Lid on, and away we go. Anyway, so boilies. I think what I'm going to start off with is the old faithful krill, which we have here. Krill wafter. So I have one of those out. What I like to do with my filleting knife is chop this in half. Probably can't see this, but I don't want to chop my fingers off. So basically I've got there half a boilie, as you can see. Now how I attach this to my bait spike is like this. Put one half on, first half on through the flat side, and this is where you need a longer hook spike. I'll screw that down as far as I can so it's just off that that first ring, or over that first ring a little bit. Get the second piece on, screw that with the round side on there, and get it in the middle like that. So what we've effectively got there is a boilie mounted, two halves of boilie mounted back to back, curved side together. And then to that is the paste we made in the kitchen. As you can see, I'm getting through it. What I'll do is just take a little bit of this, and I like to just wrap it in that recess there. What it does, it just stays on a lot longer in a current. And what you're effectively making, as you can see, is what looks like a pellet or a dumbbell. But you've got a boilie on there, because what will happen, and it'll probably happen again tonight, is you get some slamming bites off chub that you just can't hit. And if you're fishing just paste or a softer hook bait, you don't know if it's gone, and it's a case of having to reel in. Whereas with this, they might have nicked a bit of paste, but I know they haven't got those boilies off the hook. So that is the setup, and it's just simply a case, here's the feeder, of popping the figure 8 loop into the, if I put it there you'll probably see it better, into the quick change swivel. Got a reasonably long anti-tangle sleeve which just sits over there and obviously helps prevent tangles, and also if there was any likelihood, but there's not, it also stops the hook link coming out of the swivel. So that's the setup. So what I'm going to do is load this feeder with this stodgy mix. I'm going to put a few of my krill pellets in the middle of there. Just got some 4mm krill pellets. Make a little sandwich of this. Squadge that in nice and tight, and we're away. Get it in the water. Well guys, we're on the stripies tonight. Just had a smaller one, and then this fella. They're loving the red maggots. Fantastic. I was getting a bit concerned about these guys. I hadn't caught too many recently. Been up with the float rods, and used to catch loads of little perch, and hardly any now. Thought perhaps the otter had polished them off, but having a few from down here, that's brilliant. Well guys, we're into something. Chubby. Well guys, I didn't want to shine the camcorder light at the water, but fish topping over there now. But there we go. Just had this fella. It's about 10:30 now. Had this beautiful, beautiful chub. Cut the pound, I suppose. Quite hard going tonight. There's it's not been as much activity as there was just 2 nights ago. It's amazing. The weather's exactly the same. The water conditions seem to be exactly the same, and the fish are in a very different mood. But we're getting some knocks and some bangs. This was not surprisingly on the cheesy garlic pellet. Fab. I'll give it at least another hour, I think. We're fishing to dark and properly into dark, and hopefully have a few more, maybe some bream and maybe even a barbel. Looks like a chub. Well guys, how weird was that? Big clanging bite, and it was just a big heavy weight. I thought perhaps it was decent bream, and it got in close and put a bit of scrap, but wow, what a lump. And it's no bream. Let's have a look at him. Now that is a chub. What a tank. God, look at it. Proper, and that is. Absolute fantastic. Proper fish. Look at the weight, but should be getting on 5. It's an absolute tank. Careful. Proper Warwickshire Avon chub. Fab. Whee. Now I took this on the Odyssey XXX. First time out, it's been in the water an hour. Coincidence? Who knows? But I'm not going to complain. Wow. I'm going to get back in the water, he's not very happy. Well guys, just done that bit to the camera with that chub, that nice chub. It's literally in the landing net here. I put the bait runner on the other rod and it's just screamed off. Maybe a barbel. My heart's going like it's a barbel. It's giving me a proper scrap. I think it must be. Wow. can see it, but I can't tell what it is yet. Yes, it's a barbel. Brilliant. Oh gosh, what a mad 5 minutes. Literally, I spoke to the camera. I was just literally getting the landing net and starting to put it in the water to let this chub get its breath back. Fortunately, I put the bait runner on the other rod, and the rods are locked down on those magnetic rod rests that I made last year. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll put a link to the video below where I was chatting about rod rests and worrying about losing my rods and stuff, and I've made some magnetic butt rests effectively, and it held the rod on beautifully. The bait runner's cranked up quite tight, but what a 5 minute brace this is. This fella on the cheesy garlic pellet. He's got a bit of a tatty tail though, unfortunately, and I think there's a mark on this side that tells a story. Just here, but that's I'm happy with that to start the season off. That'll be about £8 I should think. Brilliant, really pleased. Really pleased. As soon as I heard that bait runner going, I thought that is a big chub or it's a barbel. Wow, over the moon with that. It's just about 11 o'clock now. I think I'm going to give it another half an hour. They're obviously having it, but what a brace that is. That's fantastic. I think we got another barbel on. It's off down the river. It's smoking me. Getting a bit of line back now. Whew. On the Odyssey XXX again. First time I've used it. Wow. Can't do a lot with this one at the moment. Sure, this is a proper one. This is a proper. Wow. again. He fooled me into thinking he was ready. It's not that big. Got him. What an evening this is turning out to be. Well guys, it's crazy. I don't know what's going on this evening, but literally 5 minutes since I cast the rods in again. This place is just not like this. That's about that fella. It's got to be a 9, I should think, this one. Wow, look at that beauty. Absolutely fantastic. 2 barbel the same evening of the Warwickshire Avon. This stretch of the Warwickshire Avon just doesn't happen. I think we did it once last year, maybe twice, and it's my 3rd session down here, 2nd proper session. Crazy. I'm absolutely over the moon, as you can tell, I'm sure. To be honest, it's gone midnight. That is enough for me. I'm done. I'm a happy chappy and go home happy. I hope you enjoy that. I've had an absolutely brilliant time. Tight lines, enjoy your own angling. Please keep in touch in the comments below. Let me know how you're all getting on the new season. As you can see, I'm having one of those red letter days. I'm absolutely over the moon. Tight lines, and I'll see you again very soon.